I was recently asked to explain what's the difference between Torah and Talmud. I'm going to try to do that in just a few minutes. To begin with, we Jews believe that when Moses went on Mount Sinai, he really received two Torahs, so to speak. One is the written Torah that we know as the Chumash, or the 5 books of Moses, and the other was an oral Torah, or explanations of those 5 books and all the rules and regulations and understandings of Jewish life. In addition to the 5 books, the revealed books of the Torah, the written Torah, includes also the writings of the Jewish prophets and a selection of writings called Ketuvim, the writings, which consists of books of history, books of revealed poetry like the Psalms, and also books of wisdom like Proverbs. And this constitutes the revealed written Torah. What about that oral Torah? So to understand the oral Torah, I have to understand the ways in which the written Torah is, so to speak, incomplete. Imagine, for example, you were to be confronted with something like this. This is the schematic diagram for my gas fireplace. Now, if you understood schematic diagrams and you were an electrician, you could look at this immediately and know immediately how to install one of these things. Well, I don't have that background, and so I can't do that. What I need is I need a teacher. I need somebody to teach me the system, to help me to understand what these terms mean, what these symbols mean, and with that I'm able to actually do what I have to do. The same thing with the Torah. There are many things in the Torah which are left unclear, and we have many commentaries that we study with, which would help us to be able to understand what the text says. But we also have a tradition of oral interpretation and understanding that goes all the way back to Moses and is passed on from teacher to teacher to teacher to teacher, all the way down to us. That tradition remained oral up until about the 2nd century. Once in the 2nd century, when the world began to be a little bit more unstable under Roman rule, the rabbis decided that it was time to start to write down the oral law.
What I want to remind myself of, and you too, is the importance of the Sunnah of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Because as Allah said in the Quran, obey Allah and obey the Messenger. And I obey Allah by following the Quran. What's in the Quran? Yes, we know that. But how can I understand the Quran? How can I understand Islam if I don't know anything about Prophet Muhammad? Peace be upon him. Okay. Give you an example. How do I know how to pray? Do Muslims pray every day? Yeah, 5 times a day. Okay, great. But where do I put my hands when I pray? Which direction do I face? How do I know? Because I'm on the other side of the earth and I want to know this and that. How can I calculate some of the timings, for instance, exactly when I should pray and not pray? What if I live at the North Pole? What does it tell me in the Quran about that? But the Prophet, peace be upon him, explained, even if you're in a place where the night is so long and the day is so long, he even said then how to calculate it. How will you know if you don't know anything about Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him? You wouldn't know even when to pray. In fact, you wouldn't really know how to totally make the proper wudu, or the washing, if you don't know about Muhammad, peace be upon him. And what about fasting? When is it exactly that we're supposed to start fasting? And what Allah tells us in the Quran, in our first days when we were reading it from the Quran, we heard about that believers been ordered to fast, and we start fasting, we give up the eating and drinking and so on, just when we're able to make the difference between the white thread of the day and the black thread of the night. Now, one of the companions of Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, after reading this, reciting this from the Quran, went home and got a black thread and a white thread, and he put it there, and then he watched. When the sun had come all the way up, the sun was up, bright, finally he could see it. But by then everybody was already fasting for quite a while. Oops. So when he asked Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, and he said, no. It's not about that. It's not about a string. It's not about some kind of, thread like from your clothes. It's talking about the white thread of day against the black thread of night, as I explained just a minute ago. But that's not what it says. Literally in the Quran, you have to know what the Prophet said about it. And what about Hajj? And what about Zakat? And how do you calculate the Zakat? And how do you know the rituals of Hajj if you don't know about the Sunnah or the Hadith of Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him? For sure, if you want to obey Allah, you have to obey His Messenger. And how can you do that if you reject the very teachings of the Messenger? Very dangerous thing, actually. And a good reminder for us to remind others during this holy month of Ramadan.